All right, let's jump right into this. Welcome to today's explainer. We're going to be talking about something that will completely transform how you interact with your tiny feathered family members. If you've got a budgie at home, you already know they're just incredible. But figuring out their secret language, building those specific daily habits to strengthen your bond, well, that changes absolutely everything. We got to start with a kind of tough question, honestly. Does your budgie actually know you love them? I mean, you're probably showing them affection every single day, right? But here's the catch. Most of the ways us humans naturally show love, well, they mean absolutely zero to a budgie. We just assume they get it. But what if our daily routines are actually just getting totally lost in translation? To figure out why, we have to wrap our heads around this massive paradigm shift. Okay, ready? They do not see you as human. To them, you're just a giant flock member. You see, dogs have had thousands of years to adapt to us, creating this whole separate social category for humans. But budgies? No way. They never did that. To your bird, you're basically a massive, slightly unpredictable, and frankly, super clumsy bird who just happens to live in their space. So if we really want to connect, we literally have to learn to speak their specific flock language. And honestly, when you think about it that way, every single interaction you have is kind of like a biological miracle. It requires this thing called a biological override. Think about it. A budgie is a prey animal. Millions of years of evolution have hardwired their tiny nervous systems to run far away from giant creatures like us. So when your budgie actually chooses to hang out near you, they are actively overriding their deepest survival instincts. Every moment of trust is a choice. So how do we make that choice easier for them every single day? Let's start with our first set of habits. Section 1. Speak their vocal language. This brings up a huge difference in how we communicate. Our normal, go-to human habit is talking at our budgie. Narrating our day, saying good morning, and hey, that's fine. But the flock habit, the one that really actually matters to their nervous system, is talking back to your budgie. Out in the wild, flock members don't just, broadcast into the void. They respond. If your budgie chirps and you just sit there in silence, you are literally ignoring an invitation to bond. This is all rooted in a really fascinating scientific concept known as vocal learning. And budgies are one of the rare animals on the planet that can actually do this. They use this back and forth mimicry to basically confirm, hey, I'm here and we're safe. Every single contact call has to be answered. So when you answer their chirps with a little whistle, a hum, or even just a soft word, you're proving to that tiny nervous system that they aren't alone. It literally tells them, I called and my flock answered. It's so simple, but wow, it is incredibly powerful. And you can easily turn this into a daily habit using greeting and departure rituals. First, right before you approach their cage or leave the room, make a very specific, consistent sound. Could be a unique whistle, maybe a simple word. Then, and this is absolutely crucial, pause. Let their nervous system fully register that signal. Why is this such a big deal? Well, unannounced arrivals trigger wild bird predator alarms. Not good. And unexplained departures, well, they actually cost you a tiny bit of trust every single time. Because to a flock, an unexplained absence feels like a literal loss. Moving right along to section 2, visual and spatial trust. Okay, so budgies have this crazy, almost 360-degree vision that is built for one thing, threat detection. When us humans stare directly at them without blinking, we are literally speaking the language of a predator locking onto its prey. I mean, that triggers extreme panic. Instead, we want to signal flock safety, and you do this by just using a soft gaze and a slow, gentle blink. Literally just a long, slow closing and opening of your eyes. This instantly tells them, hey, we're cool, I'm relaxed, and it physically allows their feathers to just settle down. But visual trust isn't just about how you look at them. It's about simply being there through the power of what's called ambient presence. Wild flocks spend huge chunks of their day just existing near each other. They aren't constantly interacting or demanding attention. So try just sitting near their cage, read a book, do some work, watch TV quietly. Make absolutely zero demands for their attention. By doing this, you're perfectly mimicking the ambient safety of a wild flock. You're giving them space to mirror your calm energy, and that builds this deep, foundational security without any of the pressure of a forced interaction. Next up, section 3, the rules of touch. So, out in the wild, birds groom each other in very specific spots, specifically the spots they absolutely cannot reach themselves. For your budgie, there are only a few truly safe touch zones. The cere, which is that little area right around the beak, right behind the eyes, and the very top of the skull. When you gently touch these areas, you're basically speaking to them in flock language, saying, I trust you and I've got your back on the spots you can't protect. It is deeply, deeply meaningful behavior to them. And these boundaries, they are strict for a very good reason. Safe touch, like those slow strokes on the head, actually releases oxytocin in your budgie's brain. It literally feels like love. But think about a threat touch. Petting your budgie on the back or the wings, that mimics the exact sensation of an eagle or a hawk grabbing them from above. So even if your bird just freezes and sits still, beneath the surface, that back petting is causing deep panic and stress. Stick to the head, and you are for sure speaking their language of love. Which leads us to section 4, the ultimate trust signals. We actually misunderstand their behavior all the time. For example, if you hear this soft beak grinding right before they sleep, you might just think it's some random bird noise, but actually, that means full relaxation. Their guard is completely down. Or what about a soft, relaxed nip when they're chilling next to you? People think it's aggression, but no, it's a love bite. They're literally trying to flock room you. And what if they turn their back to you? Please, whatever you do, don't take it personally. In budgie language, turning their back means supreme trust. They know you are the safest direction in the room, so they don't even feel the need to keep an eye on you. And this all builds up to the absolute ultimate compliment a budgie can possibly give you. It involves this mind-blowing biological mechanism called unihemispheric sleep. Listen to this. Budgies have the unbelievable ability to sleep with one eye completely open, resting only half their brain while the other half stays fully alert to scan for predators. It's an extreme survival mechanism. In the wild, they never ever fully power down unless they are absolutely 100% certain they are safe. So, think about what it means when they sleep deeply right next to you, both eyes closed, both halves of the brain resting. They are entirely shutting down their million-year-old alarm system. They are giving up the absolute safest, highest perch in their cage, abandoning all their biological defenses and deciding to trust you to act as their bodyguard while they completely power down. The emotional weight of that decision is just staggering. And that brings us right to the absolute core of the relationship you have with your bird. As this quote so beautifully puts it, trusting you was almost biologically impossible, but they chose you anyway. Out of millions of years of evolution screaming at this tiny prey animal to flee from giant creatures, they look at you, they override their deepest instincts, and they continuously choose you over their own biology. I want to leave you with one final thought to really let the beauty of this bond sink in. Out of every safe spot in your room, every high perch, every hidden corner, why did they walk past all of them just to be near you? Well, it's not instinct. It's not some accident. It is a daily, deliberate choice. They chose you. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and the next time you look at your budgie, I really hope you remember just how incredibly special that connection truly is.